Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak-to-Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
I am a wanderer, I am a rake, born to give more than I take. Raised with an illness, grew up on stage, living in the elephant cage.
You are listening to the title and opening track of the Danny Shafer album, Living in the Elephant Cage, which you can find on Bandcamp as a Pay What You Want album. You can find Danny Shafer's music elsewhere, wherever you get your music, and learn more about his music at DannyShafer.com. He'll be performing at the Jamestown Mercantile, located at 108 Main Street in Jamestown, on Thursday, December 4th, 2025, starting at 7 p.m. Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to Music of the Mountains, where to be and what to see, brought to you by the Mountaineer Podcast. I hope you enjoyed Thanksgiving, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed our special Thanksgiving segment of the Mountaineer Podcast, where I interviewed staff and students from Netherland Middle Senior High School to talk about their experiences with their annual harvest feast. Today, we're heading back to our weekly Music of the Mountains episode, where I have two guests for you. If you haven't subscribed to the Mountaineer and you're looking to support local news from peak to peak, be sure to head to the mtnear.com and click on the subscribe button in the top right corner of our homepage. From there, you'll get full access to our digital archives and scanned copies of our physical newspaper, and you can choose to send a physical subscription to your mailbox or to the mailbox of someone that you love. If you have any questions or suggestions for the paper or the podcast, or you want to be involved in some way, be sure to reach out to our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hardt, at info@themountaineer.com, myself at media@themountaineer.com, or frontdesk@themountaineer.com. You can also ask us questions by calling 303-810-5409. And now, let's jump into the interviews. Let's introduce our first guest, who I interviewed on November 13th.
So, do you mind just introducing yourself real quick?
I'm Danny Shafer, and I'm a songwriter, Colorado songwriter.
Sweet. And you'll be performing at the Jamestown Mercantile very soon.
I will be performing at the Jamestown Merc on December 4th.
So I'm curious about how you got started in music in the first place. How was your music career developed? What got you started? All that kind of stuff.
As soon as someone handed me a guitar, I couldn't get it back out. And the next day, I tried to write a song. Writing songs always seemed like what a guitar was for. So from that day, I thought about writing songs. I had a moment where I wanted to be the best guitar player in the world, but that faded pretty quickly because I knew I was going to spend my time with words and melody and doing that.
And so how long has that been in terms of writing songs for you?
I started when I was 14, 15.
What styles have you kind of leaned more towards over the years? Have there been any big inspirations that have stuck with you or any styles you've leaned more towards?
Yeah. Somewhere between old school country, Willie Nelson, Neil Young, all the way to Warren Zevon.
And is there anything that has kept you coming back to the songwriting process, like something that especially stuck with you the first time you tried to write that song?
No, this is how I express myself, where I go to work things out. And also, there's always a surprise in a song when I'm writing it. Always a surprise that comes out that I didn't know was there. It's like cracking an egg or something, or taking a walk. You don't know exactly where you're going when you start. If you did, I don't know if it'd be worth writing that song.
And what captivates you most about just writing songs, performing live, sharing all of this music with people, all that stuff?
Oh, well, sitting there with one guitar is a very interesting thing to do. Getting an audience, inviting an audience in without giving them too much to think about, but having them come to the songs. If I'm doing a good job, and any night, an audience is going to walk away feeling like they know me by the openness, by the songs, and how it's all presented. And I believe that that's when the truth starts happening. I don't have to hide anything when I'm on stage. There's nothing, no spot in my personality that I can't show.
And along with writing songs and performing on your own, you also are an organizer behind the scenes as well in terms of music venues and all that. How long have you kind of served in that role, especially here in the community?
I've been booking bands in Colorado since 1991, so that's just about 34 years, and that is a true pleasure and also a real honor. One thing to be able to do. It's tricky sometimes, and I don't always get it right, but enough time to where I can keep going.
Sure. Is there anything that in particular has stuck out with you the most about playing in the Colorado music scene and being a part of the music scene here?
The Colorado music scene is very open. It's also very changing in a lot of ways. The people that I know that have stuck around that are in the music scene, they're like brothers and sisters or cousins. I know them well. I know their history. I can see what they did. I've worked with them from day one when they're coming in to ask for a gig, and I was also doing those same gigs to the point where some of them are very famous, and some of them are out there working and putting on some of the best music I've ever heard in my life.
And is there anything that you hope people take away from your shows or your music in general, or just your musical efforts here in the community?
The takeaway is always knowing people and having roots. Over the years, I have built my own roots just by being part of the music community. And I want to say, the music community, even though I've worked hard in it, it's given me so much. It's given me more than I could ask for. So at this point, I'm just happy to feel like I'm giving back in any way I can. It's given me a job. It's given me a life. It's given me friends. It's given me family. What a huge thing to get from passion and where I've ended up working my entire career.
Absolutely. And yeah, I don't know, is there anything else in general about like any musical projects coming up or anything else in general you want to shout out about things coming up? Or
I'm continually demoing songs at home and writing new songs. I'm also really looking forward to the Jamestown Mercantile, because, there's no place like it, and I can walk in there and see old friends. It's not a regular, it's a different sort of stop in my playing. It's a stop that I look forward to for many different reasons. Friends, memories. It's a different experience playing there than it is at other places. Very special.
Yeah, I think those are the big questions that I have on my end.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jamie. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Danny, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. If you want to see Danny performing live, be sure to head to the Jamestown Mercantile, located at 108 Main Street in Jamestown, on Thursday, December 4th, 2025, starting at 7 p.m. For more information about Danny and his music, be sure to head to his website at dannyshafer.com. And now, to transition into our second interview. A follow-up from last week's Music of the Mountains episode with a person that I interviewed on November 14th.
Do you mind just introducing yourself real quick?
Yes, my name is Wendy Wu, and I'm a Colorado musician. I spent lots of time in Netherlands when I was a kid, growing up, and in my young adult years. I'm originally from New York City, and I moved to Boulder when I was a kid with my parents, and then kind of like back and forth from Ned, and like we were just saying, Coal Creek Canyon, Denver, and now I live up in Loveland, Colorado, up north.
Sweet. And you'll be coming back to perform in Ned for a benefit series that Busey Brews is putting on in a bit.
Yeah, and Netherlands looks great. I drove through it the other day. I forgot I had some casino gigs and forgot that you could go up that way to the casinos, and it was just beautiful. Beautiful drive through Netherlands and Rollinsville, and it was just all filled with memories.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was pretty clueless about your Colorado background here before I got into the interview, but as I dug into the background a little bit, my mind kind of exploded. So I was curious about, like, just starting off, where did you get your musical spark? How long have you been developing your musical career and performances?
Well, growing up in Boulder, and I went to Boulder High School and graduated in 1989. Kind of the only thing I was really interested in was singing. I was in a choir, chamber choir, with 16 of us. So, there's 4 altos, 4 tenors, 4 bass, 4 sopranos. And so I really got to learn about all the different voicings of singing. So I got out of high school and started playing the guitar a little bit and did some traveling for some years, just playing guitar and seeking out drum circles at Grateful Dead shows, to be honest. Did that for a couple years and came back. I went to CU as well. I went to their music program for 3.5 years. And then I went to work at the Fox Theater as a server and then a bartender. And then that was kind of a way for me to experience the music business while still making a living in the service industry, which you should be good at if you're a musician. So you can always go back to something because music's so up and down. But yeah, and I just kind of learned how to perform on stage and got to open for Sheryl Crow before she blew up and worked there for 10 years. Moved to Denver, bought and sold some properties, owned some properties in Netherlands. My mother lived up there. And then I wanted to have kids, so I came up to Loveland and we bought kind of a bigger house for less money, and I'm raising kids in it.
Amazing. Yeah, and in general, again, just looking into the background that you've had in Colorado and with music in general, it sounds like your whole life really has been kind of immersed in the arts, not just music, but just the arts in general as well.
Yes. I mean, when I was growing up, my parents were Tai Chi artists, and they moved here to help Naropa University. They were founding faculty members for the Tai Chi school, which later became the traditional arts program, where you could get a degree in traditional arts. And my mother put on a thing called the Jack Kerouac Conference in the 80s. So we had lots of beatniks in and out of the house for that year. That was a huge success for her. And yeah, so lots of arts growing up. Specifically music, though. So my bass player now, I think I'm playing this gig solo, but my bass player now, Lisa, she made all her money doing pop-up paint parties, and she's an artist. So she plays bass and she paints. So I think that's impressive. I'm not a painter, but she says if I go to her pop-up party that I could paint something. Is that what you mean by the art?
Yeah, there's been that immersion. And so I guess I'm curious also, what stuck out to you about music in particular? What's kept you coming back to music?
It's kind of the only thing I was ever very good at. I mean, I tried other things, and I always came back to music. It always seemed to just provide for me better than whatever I was doing. I mean, there were ups and downs. I've had other jobs along the way, you know, but music has just always called me. And now as an older person, I'm immersed in it, and I'm constantly getting better, and I'm playing with really great players, and I'm playing with some very beginner players, and I've just immersed my whole life with it. And it's been amazing because I'm 55 in January, and it's wonderful to just, I feel like I know so much about it. And then I also feel like there's so much to learn, which is cool about music because you can start to play and be successful, and it can be fulfilling very quickly, but you can still play for your whole life and still learn. So I kind of like that. But yeah, music's always called me back.
And you've played in a whole ton of different performances, both on your own and with others, and you've been writing songs for the majority of that time, I assume. When did you start kind of delving into your own songwriting as well as performances?
Right away. I had some musical inspirators, people who inspired me musically. A lot of the acts from the Fox and, you know, a lot of really popular, like, lyricists. So I've been writing songs the whole time. I've just recently started playing covers because I'm a people pleaser and I like a happy crowd. So I've just been recently doing a lot of covers with my girl crush band. But I've been writing original songs my whole life. I can hear them in my head all the time right now. But I don't know if people, honestly, I don't know if people want to hear original music anymore. Maybe they do in Netherlands. I recorded one of my albums at the Netherlands Acoustic Coffee Shop in, I don't know, 2000? Yeah, in 2000 or something. It was a live performance, and it was all original, and it was a full house. So Netherlands definitely had a lot of appreciation for original music, and probably still does. But I've been constantly writing and also learning other people's stuff.
For sure. And what's kept you coming back to songwriting in general? You know, have there been any consistent processes for you, or have there just been things about writing songs in general that have just stuck out to you?
Well, it's very therapeutic. I mean, so many of the songs I've written just to work through stuff, I don't even share because they're so sad. You know, I'll share them on Instagram with a message or something. But yeah, it's very therapeutic. I work through all of my stuff by writing songs. Sometimes it just pours out of me. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have a writer's block. But I've been doing it for so long. I just feel like, I mean, do other people hear like songs in their heads? I mean, and I don't normally listen to music because I feel like there's so much going on in my head. I always try to listen for that. So.
And yeah, throughout that time, you know, you've written a lot of songs and you've performed a lot of performances live. And there's one that I really wanted to talk about and pick your brain on, especially since I think it's gotten a little bit more relevance recently, actually. You were a part of the 1999 Lilith Fair.
Yeah.
And so do you want to talk a bit about that experience, you know, how that performance kind of came to be in your world?
I mean, I'd heard of the Lilith Fair, of course. It was so big in the 90s. And a great idea for publicity and marketing that they would hold a competition in every city that they played in. And they took the top 2 people and gave them slots at the Lilith Fair. And then they let us come up. I think I played the very last show. Maybe I played the very last show. But it was the very last show of a tour. And then they brought everybody up at the end of the night on this big stage at Fiddler's Green. And with Sarah McLachlan and the Indigo Girls, Sheryl Crow, I mean, all the greats. So I got to play there. It was 1999. I just put out my album Wide Awake and Dreaming. And yeah, it was great. I mean, it was exciting. I have a style of guitar playing that I do that I call slap tap, where I just kind of use the whole guitar like a drum, using the body sounds and then using the harmonics. And I've gotten better at it over the years, and I have about 6 or 7 songs I do it with that I can play. When you do a competition and they let you play one song, that's the song I play. And I've had a lot of luck standing out from like a group of others because that's so different and unique. And I see other people do it, but I don't see a lot of other people do it. So I don't know. But I felt very lucky to be able to, I mean, it was huge. My mom couldn't believe it. My mom was dying of cancer at the time and just came and sat in the green grass at the Lilith Fair and watched me play. It was awesome. Oh, wow. We had, my mom took me to all the Bonnie Raitt concerts. So one was at Fiddler's Green and also at Red Rocks. I think it was really cool for her to get to see me on the big stage, before she passed away from breast cancer in 2001. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was 2000. Anyways, whatever year the 9/11 was.
That's beautiful that she got to see you on there for sure.
Yeah, she was a big personality for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, finding that background as well, I found it interesting that now ABC has, I guess, released an official documentary about it just as recently as September.
Awesome.
Did you hear about that like when it was being made, or was that kind of something you found out after the fact? Or
no, yeah, I read about it on Facebook News, and I just commented, I was there. I was there in 99.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check that documentary out.
Probably haven't watched it because I'm probably not in it.
Oh, well, fair enough. It's still cool.
Yeah, no, I'll have to watch it. I'll have to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
I call myself a jumper-upper. I have a hard time sitting and watching stuff. I'd rather jump up in like my service industry background, and I have 4 kids that I wait on, and they tell their friends, don't worry, she used to be a waitress. Bringing them all food.
And I'm curious, too, about that method of guitar playing that you developed, the slap tap method that you've worked on for all that time. When did that first kind of spark, I guess? When did you first kind of realize that was a style you could lean more into?
Okay, so I was 18 years old. I got out of high school. And all I wanted to do was surround myself with guitar players. I was obsessed. And so I was hanging out at this hippie house, right, in the 90s at River. And then there was some traveling guitar player in the corner, about 5 or 6 years older than me, playing guitar like amazing. One of the best guitar players I've ever seen in my life. And so I kind of gravitated towards him, and we dated for like 5 years. And he was from a broken home and an abused family, and he was definitely a messed up human, but he played guitar amazing. And we wrote that song together. The song's called Down and Dirty. It was the first song I probably ever co-wrote with him. And he did that style and taught me that open tuning. So I'm 19 years old, and he introduces this style of guitar playing, and I just took it, made it my own,
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing to like tap on the guitar like that and feel the vibrations. I don't want to sound like a hippie from Boulder, but the vibrations of the instrument is just very therapeutic and healing. Yeah, I love it. So.
Absolutely. And in general, you've immersed yourself in music for all your life, and you've written songs, and you've performed all this time. What has stuck out to you about performing live? What have you loved most about performing live, whether it's in the context of something like the Lilith Fair, or whether it's the context of something like Busey Brews, this local event?
There is an absolute charm to all of it, and you have to embrace it all, because you can be playing Red Rocks one night, and then you can be playing a little coffee shop to 5 people the next night, and you still take it all in and love it, like the energy of a sold-out show at Red Rocks, and then the energy of like you and a couple of people in a room. It's the same, and it's hard. Like if you play for a big room of people that are all listening, that's terrifying. Like if it's totally quiet, it's terrifying. But then a lot of the work now is breweries, which aren't made for music, but they have music. And so you can play it in front of a crowd where no one's listening, or you think no one's listening, but then you realize everyone's got an ear. But I understand people like to talk. Listen to me. I talk all the time. So yeah, you can play in front of a small crowd, a big crowd, a loud crowd, and it's always the same. You deliver the same power and energy no matter what.
And over the 30 years that you've been performing music and writing songs and connecting with audiences through that, has there been anything that you hope people kind of take away from the shows that you perform or the music that you write? Or
Well, I'm a people pleaser, so if I can I play a lot of covers in my Girl Crush band with another young singer, because my voice is getting older, as you can hear. I have a cold. This young singer, we do a lot of covers, and people dance harder than they ever have to these covers. So I love that. I mean, I love that energy. But I also do my acoustic shows, and I had said earlier that I write about emotional things to get through emotional times. And sometimes I break those songs out, and I feel like it really rings truth to some people, and then becomes very emotional. So sometimes, I'll see someone crying in the audience, and sometimes I will cry on stage, and that's embarrassing. But, I break out these really emotional songs. Some of them I don't even play, but you kind of read the audience and see what they're doing, see what they want to do. You don't want to play a depressing song to a crowd that wants to dance. But a listening room, I break out those songs. I have a song about when my father died. He bought a ticket to China. He's Chinese Filipino. He went to China and to the birthplace of Tai Chi, and he died there. And that was the inspiration for my song called Plane to China. And I think a lot of people that are experiencing, especially my age, parents passing away, I think that really rings true for them, and they can really feel that. I guess the line in that song is, when I asked him if he believed in heaven, he said, I sure hope so. That would be nice. That was the chorus. I recently had a young friend who committed suicide, who I knew since he was in kindergarten, and I wrote a song that I think is so beautiful, but it's so sad I can't play it. So when I found out that this child had killed himself, oh my God, it's so sad. My daughter, who's 13, is really struggling because it's hard to be a 13-year-old girl. Yes. And she said, well, Mom, look on the bright side. At least you won't have to wake up in this world tomorrow. So that was the chorus. But then the true chorus is, because life is beautiful. And I sing that and cry. It's crazy. My first ex-husband said, you make your songs so personal. And I was like, yeah, that's all I know, I guess.
I think that's the key, isn't it? Finding that thing that really resonates with you as well.
Yeah. I write the song, whether I share it or not, I don't know. And now it's so easy. You can just jot it down on your phone. It's amazing. How much technology has changed the music business in the 35 years I've been doing it is unbelievable. And you have to keep up, but you use all your tools and you can stay in the game. I think, honestly, one of the reasons I kind of have so much longevity is because I'm from here. So I see people from all walks, from every chapter of my life come to the shows. People I went to kindergarten with, people I went to high school with, people I used to work with at the Fox. So a lot of my fan base is people I've known my whole life. So I don't know if people are interested. It's hard to get recognized now as a musician because everyone's so inundated. How do you stand out in the crowd? I have a song like that. How do you stand out amongst all of us? So I have a song that says, how do you stand out in the crowd? And baby, be loud. Baby, be loud. That's one of my songs. I've been kind of loud, quieter now that I'm 55.
But clearly there's been something that has stuck out to you about the Colorado music scene as well, not just the fact that you grew up here, but just about that environment that has stuck with you.
Yeah, not only was I immersing myself with music, the Colorado music scene was just exploding. Great acts here. Nathaniel Ratecliffe from Fort Collins, and then The Fray and Lumineers from Fort Collins, and just all the big names that came out of here. But at the same time, you can make a middle-class living playing music. You don't have to do the Billboard chart hits or whatever, which would be nice, but you can actually play live music 5 nights a week if you want to. And it's always a little bit better pay than you make waiting tables. That's how I see it. A little bit more money than bartending.
In terms of the musical performances that you've got now, Girl Crush is the band that you're kind of focusing on at the moment, I assume. Is that your main project at the moment? Do you perform solo every once in a while? What's kind of your musical focus currently?
I do play solo, which is how I started. I'm playing at the Legacy Theater in Eaton on December 6th. Relentless promotion, but solo acoustic is like an evening list. And then I have the Wendy Wu Band, and I just hire these kind of badass, hard-hitting players. And they all know the book, and it's all very intuitional to them. So I do that, but it's hard to get commitment from them because they go to the highest bidder or first come, first serve. So I have a bunch of girlfriends, and I thought the idea of an all-girl band was so charming. I thought it up in 2020 after I heard the song for the first time, which is a little big town song. And so since then, I've been trying to teach all my girlfriends how to play music. And my friend Dana learned the drums, and she's great. I found a bass player who's already been playing her whole life. A great, fun, keyboard player. And then what I found was another singer, a younger singer, which I've been in need of because sometimes I lose my voice. You can hear it today. I found this young singer. She was waiting tables at a place that I was playing every Thursday night during the pandemic. And she was always busy and I was always busy. But people kept saying, you got to get Jillian up there to sing. She's really good. You got to get Jillian up there. So one day she came up to sing with me and I was like, that is just the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. And so I recruited her, and then that's kind of what Girl Crush became. We wanted to play a lot of covers and a lot of harmonies and kind of just make people happy and make people dance. And since I've been in the music business already for 20-some years, I really felt like it was time for me to reinvent myself a little bit to stay relevant in the music scene. So it was kind of my like, hey guys, I'm still here. I'm still doing stuff, and this is a cool band.
For sure. I mean, clearly, along with Girl Crush, you still find ways to jump around and keep playing and keep working in the music scene in here and keeping everything going.
Yeah, I feel so lucky. Last night I got invited to play by Mark Diamond, who's a bass player, upright bass from Boulder. And I got to play with him and John McKay on keys, who used to play with the Derek Trucks Band and Leftover Salmon and Van de Jour, for anyone who's been around forever. And we sat up in the corner of this bar last night, and I got to sit next to all these great players, like 2 feet away from this amazing keyboard player. Watching him that close was amazing. And Steve Ivey on drums. So it was so funky, and it was a great jam. And then I get invited to do some other stuff. I played with Cody Quayles, who used to play with Faith, and we co-wrote a song together called My Work, about music. And it's super funky. So I got to play Nieces with his band. So I get invited to do stuff, and I invite people to do stuff. I'm glad to be on people's minds, to call Winnie Woo.
And yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of the big points I wanted to make sure I covered. Is there anything that we haven't brought up that you want to make sure is mentioned, or anything you want to talk about involving the benefit, or I don't know, just anything else that you wanted to mention?
Well, sure. I'll just tell you my history of the Netherlands.
Oh yeah, fire away.
Yeah, so that shady guitar player person that I was dating for some while, when I started working at the Fox, we broke up, which was good, and he moved to Netherlands, and we sort of broke up, right? So I was still up there visiting him, and I lived in a little cabin up Caribou with him and my dog Sadie, and some great hippies up there, and spent a summer up there with him, kind of like decoupling. So I have all those fond memories. And then my mom moved up to Netherlands and it was one of the original houses that was originally by the lake. But they picked the house up and moved it to 3rd Street. And it's this beautiful little cabin. And so I spent some time up there with her. When she passed away, I sold the cabin to one of her Tai Chi students, 2 of her Tai Chi students. And so they still live there, and they've made it into a Tai Chi sanctuary. And I recorded one of my albums up there. And, Netherlands just always been filled with memories and a place in my heart. And so sad to hear, so devastated to hear about the fire. The mountain businesses struggle already in the winters. And so, I was so excited to have been invited because Netherlands been, even though I'm not there now, it's always been a real special place in my heart.
And I think those are the big things I wanted to cover on my end.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the conversation and the great questions.
Thank you so much to Wendy for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. This is a follow-up from last week's Music of the Mountains episode, where I interviewed Karen and Arn Current of the band Slopeside. The Slopeside Trio will be performing before Wendy Woo at Busey Brews, located at 70 East 1st Street in Nederland, this afternoon on Friday, November 28th, 2025, starting at 4 p.m. They will be performing for the Ripple Effect benefit series that has been running through the whole month at Busey Brews. Be sure to keep an eye out on the last couple of shows for the benefit. To learn more about Wendy Woo and her music, be sure to head to her website at wendywoo.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this week's Music of the Mountains episode. We'll be back very soon with another episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. Again, if you're interested in being involved in the newspaper or the podcast in any way, shape, or form, be sure to reach out to info@themountaineer.com, media@themountaineer.com, or frontdesk@themountaineer.com, or call us at 303-810-5409. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you're listening to it now. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Podchaser, and as an embed in our main homepage at the mtnear.com. From that embed and from our podcast's primary hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com, you can find a full archive of all of our episodes. You can find the embed on the Mountain Ear Media section of our homepage, where you'll also be able to find our Facebook and our YouTube. And you can also find us on Instagram at mtn.ear. Be sure to keep an ear out for the next episode, and I'll see you guys very soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Cleaning up a man's life's work, sorting through all the dust and dirt. Well, I could write a book.
You are listening to Plane to China, a song written and performed by Wendy Wu from her solo album, The Immigrant, which you can find along with other albums of hers wherever you get your music. You can learn more about her music career by heading to her website at wendywoo.com. She'll be performing after the Slopeside Trio at UC Brews, located 70 East 1st Street in Nederland, this afternoon, Friday, November 28th, 2025, starting at 4 p.m.
Boxes of photographs, slides and tapes and old 8 tracks, record players, albums and wine. With summer nights on the back porch, Gregory teaching his kids to play poker, poetry.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak-to-Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.